It seems like technology wanted to do the things. Okay, let's try and copy because now we have this on this page and erasing will take most of our time. Let's see if you can copy this. Okay, copy, copy, copy. And then let's open a new board and see if we can paste. Oh, it's here now. Oh, okay. And then we possibly zoom out again. Okay, cool. So the objective now is to proceed with where we were previously, because the road is to attaining 100%. We literally now have 5%, 5 point something percent in the back. Let's go to 1.1.3. It literally says square root of x squared minus 5 equals to 2 times square root of x. Okay, cool. Let's solve that problem. It says the square root. Why is my pen so tiny? Let me go back and see if I can. Square root of, that's much better. X squared minus 5 equals 2 times square root of x. You know, with these problems, there is a trick here. One thing you need to notice that there is a square root sign. It's not in quadratic sequence, like format. In a quadratic format, sorry. You need to make it look like a x squared plus bx plus c. That's the first trick. And then from there, since I didn't say you should round off to 2 decimal places, maybe you need to realize that you can open brackets at some point. But before you can open brackets, you need to know that any answer that is less than 0 is not applicable in your system, because in high school you hadn't touched on imaginary numbers. So square root of a negative number is undefined. At varsity level, they'll tell you that a square root of a negative, like square root of -1 is I, but that's just a thing that I learned at varsity. For high school people, you should say for every answer that you're gonna get, if one of your answers is negative or something, you should know that it's not applicable because of this guy over here, right? You should have that in mind, because it's easy for you to forget when you reach the end of your workings, to forget that a negative answer, or like a negative value of x, is not applicable here. So x here, the domain says x should be greater than or equal to 0. That's the first thing. That's the domain of this problem at hand. Okay, cool. So if you write this before you even start solving your problem, you'll be conscious because you're reminding yourself. It's easy to forget. Okay, let's then dive into solving the problem at hand now. Okay, cool. Okay, take it down here. Okay, cool. So we had let's just put in get rid of the square root signs. X squared minus 5 is a square root sign. The only way to get rid of a square root sign is introducing a squared. Okay, cool. Equal to 2 root x. According to mathematics, what you do on the left, you should also do on the right. Okay, cool. So now you know that on your right hand side, when you look at this square root, the square roots will cancel with this 2, right? Cool. So now you then be left with what's in the bracket. So it will be x squared minus 5 equal to, because the square root sign cancelled with the squared, no? Okay, cool. And then you go to the right hand side. Most students, they forget that this squared is not only applicable to the square roots, but it's applicable to everything that is within the square root. So this is equivalent to this. It's equivalent to this. 2 squared multiplied by square root of x squared, ne? So this is the same thing. So okay, it's even taking screenshots to remind me. Okay, cool. So that then boils down to this 4x, ne? Because 2 squared is 4 and square root of x squared it literally says your square root is cancelling with the squared. I mean, that's simple rules of exponent, because square root of x is also equivalent to x to the power of 1 over 2. And then if you raise that to power of 2, it will be literally x to the power of 1 over 2 times 2. The 2's will cancel. You'll be left with 1 as your exponent. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Let's go back to our problem again. Let's go back to our problem again. You see, it's still not in this format. It's still not in this format. If you look at it, it's still not in this format. It's still not in this format, ne? It's still not in this format. Okay, cool. Since it's not in this format, that means you literally have to rearrange it. So you can either use quadratic formula or just open brackets. Okay, cool. Let's rearrange our problem at hand now. So you literally go here. You go here, it will be literally x squared minus, you take your 4x to this side, minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Because you want to be left with 0 on the right hand side. And then you can easily open the brackets here. You can easily open the brackets here. And it will be x. Okay, cool. Those are factors of x. What numbers are are numbers are factors of 5? It's 5 and 1. Is the last term positive or negative? It is negative. What's the sign of the middle term? Negative. So that means my factors do not have the same sign since my last term is negative. But the biggest factor should take the sign of the middle term, which is what? Negative. So that means 5 should be negative and 1 should be positive, ne? I hope that's more than clear. Okay, you equate that to 0. You equate that to 0. To 0. Then you go again. And then once you reach this stage, that's where you need to be conscious of which answers are applicable to your system. Your first answer says x should be equals to 5. And then your second answer says x should be equals to, let me shift this to the right, shift this guy to the right, and shift my page up a bit. Okay. It says x equals minus 1, eh? But you know that your x cannot be negative since the domain doesn't allow negative numbers, ne? Because there is what here? There is a square root, like square root of x, and square root shouldn't have a negative number beneath it or under it. So that means the only answer that is applicable to this problem at hand is this one. So your x is equal to what? 5. You then check it back to the system. If you plug in 5 squared here, like if you plug in 5 in your problem, it will be 5 squared minus 5. That will be your 20, square root of 20. It's more like 4 times 5. Therefore, the answer will be 2 root 5. And also on the other side, if you plug in 5 with 2 root 5. So your answer is fine, it's correct. I was just checking using my head. You can check using your calculator just to double check what I was thinking. I may have made a slight error, but yeah, from my calculations, 5 is correct. So how many marks do you have now? You have 3 out of 150, because the road is heading to what? 200%. You have 3 plus 4 plus 4. That's 11 out of 150. You're above 5%, surely. You have like 7.3%. You see, that's something. You just solved. You haven't even finished solving 1.1, but now you have 7.3%. Okay, cool. Let's dive in now to the simultaneous equation thingy that they have. Oh, no. Yeah, we're done with 1.1. Let's go to 1.2 and solve the simultaneous equation thingy. Okay, cool. So I think we don't have space here. What we basically need to do, we have to copy this guy over here